Hello everybody, in today's video I'm sharing 11 different side hustles that you can start to begin earning some extra money on the side or maybe as a full-time job. And the first one on the list is a car wash. This side hustle has one of the highest success rates, and that isn't strange when you think about it. It's a huge market, it has low cost to entry, and it's a recurring business model. So shouldn't the market then be quite saturated? After all, wouldn't that make sense? But I think the truth is that most people don't want to get into the car wash industry because it doesn't have the same prestige as a lot of other things like drop shipping or social media marketing or something like that. So I think there's a huge opportunity for anyone looking to make some extra bit of cash or maybe even as a full-time business. And the best thing about this side hustle is that you can start on a really small scale and then just grow it when you've gotten some customers. Number 2 on the list is window washer. So similar to the car wash, this has a really high success rate, low cost to entry, and it's a recurring business model. I have a relative that used to work as a window washer, and I can tell from personal experience that it's quite hard to get the windows in as perfect condition as when a professional does it. It's mostly a matter of technique, so you will probably need a couple of times to practice, but if you get good at it, and you will probably get good at it after you've done it for 2 or 3 hours, then that's enough for people to open their wallets and make you do it instead to get the windows in that perfect condition. To be clear, if you're going into the window washer industry and you're specializing in skyscrapers, then of course it will become expensive because you need a lot of equipment then. But on a small scale, like for most people, if it's just their home, then this could really be a good side hustle to earn some extra money. Number 3 on the list is copywriter. If you're really good with words and like the entire writing process, then maybe this could be something for you. A copywriter is, if you're a little bit unsure, a person who writes for companies. The material they write is often used in marketing. It could be, for example, ads or writing the text you see on a landing page of a company. I know a lot of people are afraid right now that jobs like copywriter will disappear with all the advancements that have happened in the AI space with OpenAI's ChatGPT, for example. But I think it's a little bit of an over-pessimistic view, and rather than seeing a ChatGPT and other AIs as something that you should be afraid of, like a threat, then I see it as an opportunity for you to leverage your writing. So if you're able to get some good clients, I don't think this would be a problem, and you can earn quite a lot as a copywriter. So the average pay in America for a copywriter is around $80,000 a year. Number 4 on the list is pet sitting or dog walking. I know, this is the typical one you see on all these top 10 side hustle lists, but bear with me. So during the pandemic, there was so many people that went out and bought themselves a dog because, everything was on Zoom. Today, things are looking a little bit different, and a lot of people are wondering what they're supposed to do because they can't get their life together with their dog and their job because, everything isn't on Zoom anymore. So it's a really good opportunity if you're someone that has a bit of extra time and maybe you're working night or maybe you can flex with your hours or it depends on how your life situation looks. I think there's quite high demand for pet services like dog walking and, just being around the animal because they're not supposed to be alone for too long. And your startup cost could very well be 0. So if you're an animal lover and wouldn't mind taking some walks during the day or during the night, then this could really be something for you. Number 5 on the list is bike fixer. So if you're handy and have some previous experience with fixing bikes, then this could really be a good side hustle for you. Most of the tools you need to fix a bike are quite inexpensive, and you don't even need like a dedicated workshop. So a lot of people just turn their car into a portable workshop to fix bikes. I've even seen a couple of ones that have a bike to go around to fix other people's bikes. So the costs are quite low. The big plus to this is you will become quite good at knowing what a bike is worth you could maybe buy some of the bikes if someone isn't interested in keeping the bike you're fixing. They just want to get rid of it, and then you can fix the minor problems that the bike might have, and then you can flip it and sell it instead for sometimes quite a big profit. And sometimes people will give you the bike for free because they just want to get rid of it and don't want the hassle of going to the junkyard to then throw it away. And this could be good for you, as I said, if you're a bit handy and I don't know, like fixing things. Number 6 on the list is tutoring or being a teacher. This is perfect for anyone that's good in, for example, math or English. The market is, as you might imagine, quite big, and you can definitely find parents who want their children to get good grades in school. But if teaching like the normal subjects to children like math and English doesn't sound appealing, well, there's a wide array of other things you can teach people. And maybe you speak a second or a third language, or maybe you're really good at playing the piano or the guitar. All of these things can be taught to other people, and it's a good way to make some extra money, and you have, in most cases, zero or close to zero costs because you don't need it in most instances, equipment or anything. It's just you teaching. So think for yourself if you have a skill that other people might be interested to learn. And if you find someone who's interested in learning what you know, then there you go, there's your business model. Number 7 on the list is event rental arbitrage, and I will explain what this is, but first I will explain what rental arbitrage is on Airbnb. So Airbnb arbitrage is when you rent a property that you don't own, and then you rent it out to other people that rent it for the short term. And because long-term rentals are cheaper than short-term, then you can make some extra money. An apartment that costs you $1,500 a month might cost somewhere around $100 a night on Airbnb. So what you do is that you rent it for $1,500, you put the apartment on Airbnb for $100 a night, and then after 15 days, everything you earn above that is just pure profit. This sounds great and can pay you quite handsomely, but it can also be quite stressful because you have this quota, be it 10 days or 15 days, but if you don't reach that level, then that's just money you're losing every day. So an alternative to this is doing the same thing but with a minor twist and focusing on events instead. There are a lot of venues that aren't on Airbnb and that could use some extra bookings. Look in your area if you can find a venue that isn't on Airbnb, and if you find one, then reach out to the owner. The deal you want to make with the owner is that you will do everything related to Airbnb, taking pictures, answering emails, cleaning, etc. You will do the entire setup of the Airbnb, their venue, and then you split the profit with the owner. This way, the owner isn't taking on any extra risk and will earn a profit if your business idea is profitable, and you will make money as well, even though you don't have a property. So it's a win-win. You will do the heavy lifting because you don't own the property, but you can still make quite a lot of money from this. The only cost for you is the time it takes for you to set up the Airbnb, and besides that, you don't really have any costs. Number 8 on the list is personal training. So this side hustle is great if you're into fitness, and it can be done on a really small scale to begin with. I would suggest you choose an area of training that you are most familiar with. If you're used to running and have completed marathons, then you shouldn't probably be teaching powerlifting, not because you would necessarily be bad at it, but it makes more sense to choose the area where you excel in. It will make it a lot easier for you to market yourself and your service if it's something that you're very familiar with. And maybe you think that nobody would want you as a personal trainer because your area isn't the normal lifting weights. But I've seen a lot of people paying quite a lot of money to be in running groups. These groups are often operated by one person that leads the group, makes a Facebook group and posts and runs every time and kind of sets up the entire operation. Some have you pay an amount for every semester to be part of the group, whereas others have so you have to pay a fee every time you attend. It doesn't really matter which one. Anyway, it can be an easy way to earn money without even entering a gym. And you probably won't earn as much as a personal trainer that you can find in the gym, but then again, you have zero costs once again. The big bonus is that you get paid to train, so it's both an investment in your wealth and your health in this instance. Number 9 on the list is create a newsletter. This one I know you've heard before, and that's why I want to present a different approach of doing an email newsletter. When most people hear email newsletter, they might think of Tim Ferriss with his 5 Bullet Friday or maybe Morning Brew. So you either A, get a writer's personal opinion on different subjects, or B, you get news like with Morning Brew. But a newsletter can be a lot of different things. Here's an example. Why not let your newsletter be a bedtime story? Bedtime stories can be a great way for parents to connect with their children, but it can also be quite tricky for the parents to come up with a new bedtime story every night, or the alternative is to read the same book, and that becomes quite boring after a while. So a newsletter that comes out every night or every week with a new interesting story could really solve this issue. Maybe you're now saying to yourself, well, I don't know how to write a bedtime story. Well, here's the interesting part of it. Why not just use something like ChatGPT in this instance? Like type in the story, I want a bedtime story about a brown bear that likes cake. And ChatGPT will write that story. So you can try different inputs and you will probably find a story that you find quite compelling, and then just choose that one. And maybe now you're wondering, what about pictures? Isn't a good bedtime story supposed to have pictures? I agree, it should have. Same thing, use an AI. So just Google, for example, brown bear eating cake in a cartoon style, and that will appear. And a lot of these image AIs are completely free. I've tried it out before making this video, and I think this would really work. And it doesn't have to be exactly this type of newsletter. It's more so that a newsletter can be made in a wide array of different ways. So don't feel that it has to be in this way, like in the style of Tim Ferriss or in the style of Morning Brew. Try to be creative, and maybe you can make up a completely new way of reading a newsletter. So number 10 is rent out expensive tools. It's very common for people that they need tools or equipment, but often it's a very limited amount of time that they actually use it. And if the equipment they're using is expensive, this kind of becomes a problem. So why not give them an alternative? And this can work on a wide array of different industries. And one example is the film industry, where you could rent out high-end drones or RED cameras that are really expensive, that can cost anywhere from $5,000 to like $50,000. So yeah. And if you're not familiar with filming, then maybe landscaping or construction could work. An example of this could be generators, which is often used in outdoor events, or it could be chainsaws if somebody is using it for a bit of landscaping. There are tons of different opportunities, but I can't stress this enough. You have to get really good insurance because you're dealing with such expensive equipment. Otherwise, it can become really expensive for you. Number 11 on the list, which is the last one, is a bounce house. Yes, a bounce house. I know it doesn't sound like a very good idea, but hear me out. I knew one person who was able to make this his full-time job, and all they had was a bounce house and a generator. That was it. And you can market your bounce house on Facebook or Instagram, and you can charge anywhere from around $500 a day to $1,500. And everything you have to do is go there, set it up, make sure everything is going smoothly, and then pack up and go after the day is done. And this is really good for birthdays or other social happenings and so on. The only downside I see to this business is the weather. So if you're living in a place with quite cold climate, it kind of makes this more of a seasonal thing, but hey, you can still earn some extra money. It's just that, well, it becomes a seasonal thing. So I hope you found value in today's video and found a side hustle that you're a little bit interested in testing. And I will see you next time.